Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are zeroing in on one single pivotal day in the history of artificial intelligence, October 18th, 2025. Now, this wasn't just another day with a few tech announcements. No, this was a moment of collision, a day that revealed a huge, profound shift in the race for AI dominance.
I mean, what if the very foundations of global power, of commerce, and even our trust in the digital world were all reshaped in just 24 hours? Because on this one day, the exponential growth of AI's capabilities slammed right into the hard realities of physical infrastructure and geopolitical strategy. So how did this all go down? Let's dive in.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the new world order being forged by nations. Then, we'll get into the corporate battle for control. After that, a pretty serious crisis of reliability. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see what the future looks like on these three fronts.
Okay, first up, this front isn't about software. It's about steel, it's about power grids, it's about raw national strategy. You see, the whole AI race has fundamentally changed. It's no longer just some abstract contest of ideas. It has become a very, very physical competition for resources.
For the longest time, the race was all about who could write the smartest code, right? Who had the best algorithm. Well, that's not the game anymore. The new competition is for the physical factories that actually produce intelligence. It's not just about the algorithm. It's about controlling the entire supply chain that powers it. The data centers, the power, the chips, the whole shebang.
And a perfect example of this is the so-called tech prosperity deal between the US and the UK. Now, this is way more than just a trade agreement. It's really the creation of a new transatlantic technology bloc. And it's cemented by this massive, $31 billion investment from heavy hitters like Google, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, all to build data centers and AI hardware right there in the UK.
And to back this all up, the White House rolled out its AI action plan. And this is where you can really see the shift in thinking. When the government starts talking about fast-tracking permits for data centers and training more electricians, well, that sends a crystal clear signal, doesn't it? AI infrastructure is now officially a matter of national security.
Okay, so let's shift gears to the second front. Let's see how this whole thing is playing out in the corporate world, because there's a really sophisticated war for market control going on, and it's being led by, you guessed it, industry giant OpenAI.
So on that single day, October 18th, OpenAI basically launched a blitz, a whole series of coordinated moves all designed to dominate the entire AI stack. Everything from consumer apps to the developer ecosystem. They dropped a stunning new video model. They went right after Google's search business. But their most audacious move? That was all about raw power.
Get this. They announced a partnership with AMD to build a 6-gigawatt AI supercomputer. Now, to put that number into perspective for you, that is the same power output as several nuclear power plants. It's a project on an absolutely staggering scale, and the whole point is to create what they call a compute moat, an advantage in raw computing power that's so vast that almost no rival, maybe not even some nations, could ever hope to catch up.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, OpenAI did something that just shocked the entire industry. They released a powerful, efficient, and totally free model family called GPT-OSS. On the surface, it looked like this amazing gift to the open source community. But you gotta ask yourself, why? What was the real motive here?
Well, many analysts say this is a classic, textbook, embrace, extend, and extinguish play. It's a pretty ruthless strategy. By giving away a good enough model for free, OpenAI basically starves competitors like Mistral and Meta of oxygen. The goal is to commoditize that mid-tier market, and then when developers need to really scale up, where do they go? They're funneled right back into OpenAI's paid proprietary ecosystem.
Okay, but this massive push for scale and control, it brings us to our third front. And this one might be the most critical of all, because at the exact same time that AI's capabilities are just exploding, we're finding a deep, deep crack in its very foundation. We're talking about a crisis of trust. So on one hand, you have these incredible breakthroughs, like something called agentic self-learning. Just think of it like AI teaching itself. It's a huge leap towards more autonomous systems that don't need us humans to sit there and hand-feed them perfectly labeled data. This is exactly the kind of progress that's fueling this whole race for scale.
But at the very same time, a whole bunch of really sobering research has come out exposing a fundamental flaw that kind of undermines all that amazing progress. And this is where it gets really interesting. The problem isn't what the AI can do, it's what it can understand.
What researchers found is that these large language models suffer from something called the illusion of causality. Here's what that means. They are expert mimics. They could talk about cause and effect perfectly because they've learned the statistical patterns from all the text they've read, but they have zero grounded understanding of it. So these models can sound like a brilliant doctor while recommending a treatment that is completely useless.
And this huge reliability gap is forcing a major shift in the entire industry. It's just not enough anymore for an AI's answer to simply sound correct. The focus is now shifting to ensuring the AI's output leads to a consistently correct decision or action. So it's not about whether the summary of a medical trial looks right, it's about making sure it doesn't swap the results for the placebo and the actual drug. The new standard is proving the logic holds up every single time. So the crucial point is,
These three fronts, the geopolitical, the corporate, and the scientific, they aren't separate stories. They are deeply interconnected, interlocking tensions that are defining the future of AI. You've got the race for physical power, the war for platform control, and this crisis of trust all happening at the exact same time.
So when you boil it all down, the future of AI is being pulled apart by three core tensions. First, you've got this battle between open and closed systems. Second, there's that dangerous gap between what an AI can do and what we can actually trust it to do. And finally, you have this clash between technology as a global force and AI as a tool of national strategy.
And all of this leaves us with one final and really critical question. As nations and corporations are in this mad dash to build more and more powerful AI, pouring billions into the physical infrastructure to support it, who's actually responsible for proving we can trust it? Who holds the ultimate responsibility for ensuring its reasoning is sound, its decisions are reliable, and that its immense power is, at the end of the day, trustworthy?